That night, it started with something so small it could have been ignored, just a faint movement in the darkness below an apartment window. The city had already settled into its quiet rhythm, the kind that comes after a long day when most people retreat indoors, shutting out the cold, the wind, and anything that doesn't concern them. But she noticed it. A small, trembling shape shifting slowly across the empty lot beneath her building. At first, she thought it might be trash caught in the wind. But something about the way it moved made her pause. She picked up her phone, zoomed in, and in that instant, her heart tightened. It wasn't trash. It was a dog. Curled into itself like a fragile bundle of pain, a stray dog lay in the open, her body pressed against the frozen ground. The wind howled through the empty construction lot, carrying bits of snow and dust that brushed against her thin fur. She wasn't alone. Beneath her trembling body, barely visible, was a tiny newborn puppy so small it looked like it had only just arrived in this unforgiving world. The sight was enough to shake something deep inside her. She called her parents without hesitation. Within minutes, concern replaced any trace of doubt. There was no discussion about whether they should help, only how quickly they could get downstairs. The cold bit into their skin as they stepped outside, but it was nothing compared to what the dog and her baby were enduring. As they approached, the scene became clearer, and somehow even more heartbreaking. The mother dog was painfully thin, her ribs faintly visible beneath her matted fur. Her body shook, not just from the cold but from exhaustion. Frost had begun to settle on her coat, turning strands of her fur into stiff, icy threads. And yet, despite everything, she held her position, curled tightly around her puppy, shielding it from the wind with what little warmth she had left. Beneath them was nothing but a crumpled piece of red advertisement cloth, hardly enough to separate them from the frozen ground. For a moment, no one spoke. Then instinct took over. They rushed back upstairs and returned quickly with an old padded coat and a bowl of warm food. Gently, they placed the coat beside her, trying not to startle her. The food was set within reach, its warmth releasing a faint steam into the cold air. But the dog didn't move toward it. Her eyes, tired, wary, but fiercely protective, never left them. Hunger gnawed at her, evident in the way her stomach tensed, yet she refused to eat. Because to her, they were strangers. And strangers meant danger. Especially when you have something to protect. Understanding her fear, they stepped back and gave her space. It took a long time before she finally moved. Slowly, cautiously, she lifted her head, sniffed the air, and then, as if driven by sheer necessity, she began to eat. Not eagerly, not greedily, but quickly, efficiently, like someone who knew every second mattered. Because she had to survive. For her baby. That night, none of them could stop thinking about her. The temperature was dropping, and the forecast promised even harsher days ahead. Leaving her there was not an option. The next morning, they returned, this time prepared. Armed with foam boxes, old blankets, and anything they could find to provide insulation, they set out to build a temporary shelter. The construction site was quiet, surrounded by metal sheets that kept most people away. It was probably why she had chosen this place, a hidden corner where she could give birth in relative safety. They worked quickly, transforming a simple foam box into a makeshift doghouse, layering it with thick blankets and securing it against the wind with wooden planks. As soon as it was ready, the mother dog wasted no time. She limped slowly, painfully toward it and crawled inside. That was when they noticed it. Her left front leg wasn't right. It was shorter, stiff, clearly injured long ago and never healed properly. She had been surviving like this, disabled, alone, carrying a newborn through freezing nights and empty days. The realization hit harder than anything else. But even with the shelter, they knew it wasn't enough. Temporary warmth wouldn't save them from the winter. So they made a decision. They would take them home. The next morning, under a sky still heavy with snow, they returned once more. The ground crunched beneath their feet, each step careful and deliberate as they approached the fragile shelter. Wrapping the entire structure in blankets, they lifted it gently, carrying both mother and baby together. But home wasn't their first stop. The veterinary clinic was. Inside the warmth of the clinic, the atmosphere shifted. The mother dog, perhaps sensing something different, remained calm. She didn't resist. She didn't struggle. She simply allowed them to examine her, her body still, her eyes quietly observant. The results were both relieving and heartbreaking. Her injured leg was an old fracture, one that had healed incorrectly, leaving her permanently disabled. But aside from that, she was surprisingly healthy. No infections, no major illnesses. Just exhaustion and malnutrition. The puppy, miraculously, was perfectly fine. Healthy. Strong. Alive. After a careful cleaning and trimming, the transformation began. Layers of dirt and tangled fur gave way to something softer, something gentler. Beneath the grime was a dog who had once been cared for, or at least, had once known a life different from this. When they finally brought her home, something changed. The moment she stepped inside, the tension in her body seemed to loosen, just slightly. A bowl of warm milk and food was placed in front of her, and this time, she didn't hesitate. She ate with urgency, with relief, as if finally allowing herself to believe that this meal wouldn't be her last. They gave her a name. Fubao. And her baby became Fuwa. Names filled with hope, with blessings, with a quiet promise of a better life. The days that followed were filled with small, meaningful changes. At first, Fubao didn't understand the concept of a home. She had no habit of waiting, no sense of routine. But with patience, gentle guidance, and consistent care, she began to learn. Slowly, she adapted, learning where to go, when to eat, how to respond when her name was called. And she learned quickly. There was an intelligence in her eyes, a quiet awareness shaped by hardship. But more than that, there was trust growing, little by little. Her appetite returned. Her strength improved. The dullness in her eyes gave way to something brighter. Each time food was brought to her, she would circle excitedly, her tail wagging, her entire body expressing a joy she had likely forgotten existed. Fuwa, meanwhile, grew rapidly. From a fragile newborn into a round, unsteady little creature, wobbling across the floor with clumsy determination. His tiny legs struggled to keep up with his curiosity, his body rolling more than walking at times. He was, in every sense, a child who had never known suffering. Only warmth. Only safety. Only love. Fubao, too, changed in ways that were impossible to ignore. The fear that once defined her began to fade. In its place came affection. She would approach gently, resting her head against her rescuer's lap, her eyes soft, her presence calm. She no longer guarded every movement. She no longer expected harm. She had begun to believe. There were moments, quiet, ordinary moments, that carried the most meaning. Watching Fubao lick her puppy clean with infinite patience. Seeing Fuwa fall asleep mid-play, his small body sprawled across a blanket. The way the house, once just a space, now felt warmer, fuller, more alive. Even those who had once hesitated grew attached. Care became routine. Routine became love. And love became something unspoken but deeply understood. Time passed, and with it came strength. Fuwa grew sturdy, his steps more confident, his curiosity boundless. He explored every corner of the home, discovering a world that, for him, had always been safe. Fubao watched over him, always close, always present. No longer fighting to survive. Now, simply living. And perhaps that was the greatest transformation of all. A belief that even in a world that often looks away, there are still those who choose to stop, to see, and to care.